Hello students, welcome to my online class. In this video we are going to discuss our second chapter, that is Ozymandias. It's a poetry and this poetry has been written by P.B. Shelley. So before we start the poetry, let us take a look about the poet and his works. P.B. Shelley is considered to be one of the major romantic poets. He was born in Sussex in England in the year of 1792. And this poetry, Ozymandias, was published in 1818. Ode to the West Wind, to a Skylark, Prometheus Unbound are his popular works, his notable works. This poem, Ozymandias, is a sonnet. Now, what is sonnet? The word sonnet is derived from the Italian word sonetto, which means a little song. It has 14 lines and is written in a special rhyme scheme, that is iambic pentameter. The first 8 lines is called the octave and the last 6 lines is called sestet. So now we are going to start the poetry. We'll try to understand the meaning and the theme of this poetry. Let's start. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, what he said? Two vast and trunkless lakes of stone stand in the desert. The speaker of the poem once met a traveler from an antique land. So, the traveler was from a place with an ancient history like Rome, Greece, or ancient Egypt. The traveler told him his story of the ruins of a giant statue that he had come across. So it's a story within a story, a narrative within a narrative. Some critics opine that this framing has helped the poet add another level of obscurity to Ozymandias. It is suggestive of how pride and glory of power fade away with time. The traveler told the narrator that he saw two huge stone legs of a statue in the middle of the desert. It was trunkless and suggests that the legs were standing there without the upper body or the torso. Torso means the upper body is missing. The desert indicates that it was ancient Egypt. Near the standing legs, he also came across the broken head, the shattered visage of the statue that was partially buried in the sand. The word visage, it means face, but here it implies a head, the head of the statue. The shattered head denotes that the whole statue is destroyed, but we don't really know what exactly happened to the statue. It perhaps just the natural process of decay with time. Okay, here it is written, near them on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that a sculptor will those passion read, which yet survive. So what it is said? Whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that a sculptor will those passion read. The traveler goes on to describe that the face of the statue, it was lying on the sand and had the expression still visible, and the mighty ruler Ozymandias It was the statue of the mighty ruler Ozymandias. He has used frown, wrinkled up, and sneer of cold command to give us an impression that the subject of the statue was angry, commanding, and often upset man. But the next line shifts the attention from the statue to the sculptor who created it. Very initially, the traveler found the statue and its face. Then he realized the mastery of the sculptor. The traveler admires that the artist understood and felt his subject's passions and emotions very well. That is why he drew the face so perfectly that is still visible. Means the face nicely draws the character of the king Ozymandias, which it is said in the next lines, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the land that mocked them and the heart that fed. So what does it mean? It means the man continues his praise for the sculptor. Here in this line it is said, the man continues his praise for the sculptor. The words which yet survive. It is said, which yet survive. It implies the immortality of a work of art that the artist created. The artist's creation has been immortalized. His creation is still alive, stamped on the otherwise lifeless stones. The sculptor's hands copied and portrayed, rather mocked, his subjects and his passion, his heart, and felt those and inspired to make it possible, so that his creation and his art still survived, and it's a masterful creation. Now, what he said in the next, and on the pedestal these words appear, my name is Ozymandias, the king of kings. Look on my works, ye are mighty and despair. So here it is said, on the pedestal. What is the meaning of the pedestal? The meaning of the pedestal means where the statue is landed. So, and on the pedestal these words appears. It was written down the pedestal, my name is Ozymandias, king of kings. Look on my works, ye are mighty and despair. It means, here we have to check it out, the boastfulness of the king Ozymandias has been nicely depicted from these lines, from these two lines. Here the traveler quotes the words written on its pedestal. The inscription declares the name of the man, how the man was, his characteristics, his nature, his behavior, the boastfulness of the man. He also regarded himself as the king of kings. The ruler addresses others who think themselves powerful or mighty to look at his works to get their illusion shattered or despair. And he was a very boastful, very angry type of king, and he was he thought himself as a king of all kings. He was so mighty and powerful. Ozymandias is giving a warning to the other kings and rulers not to hope for much greatness, as they can never cross his achievements. That certainly gives an impression of his proud and commanding nature. But ironically enough, his own statue is now grounded by the great force of nature. So we cannot ignore the power and the mighty nature. With the passing time or with the ravages of time, all the things will be shattered. In the next line it is said, nothing besides remain round the decay of that colossal wreck. Boundless and bare, the lone and level stands stretched far away. So, what is the meaning of the colossal? Means it is used to emphasize that something is extremely large. So here in these lines, it is said that nothing besides remains. Means it was a the entire place was desolated. Only the statue was there. Nothing besides remain. Round the decay of the colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. So here it comes the final words from the traveler on how there is nothing except those ruins and the sands all around. The colossal wreck hints at how the gigantic statue and the high-flying passions attached to it are all dusted now. The boundless and bare, that means that it was far-stretching land. Nothing was there, and it refers or it symbolizes the vastness of time. So here the poetry comes to an end. So the thing we come to know from the poetry that we the human beings are very little creature in the vast passages of time. Our pride and might will eventually disappear, but what remains immortal is the work of art or the deed of a human being. This last line suggests the central theme of the sonnet. If a person who has done a lot of good works, he will be remembered after even his death. It is only the work of a person that helps him to immortalize. With the passages of time or with the ravages of time, everything will be into a dust. So this was the entire poetry. Hopefully you understood the theme of the poetry. And the thing is that you just take a copy and try to write down the meanings that I have already said, and go through the poetry, and definitely you will be able to understand it clearly. Thank you.